Yeah, back again, Animoji Gaming. So today I tried to play the Metro Last Light Redux, which is pretty long for around 42 minutes. But after this, I already prepared for more Animoji gaming footage, which is definitely much longer than this because there is a Watchdog Legion or even the Metal Gear Solid Phantom Pain footage, which can took up to 2 hours. So I just don't get it why it's gonna be very long, and I'm not sure whether my MacBook are also capable to render
When
the video
asked
or
how it all
not, because
started, I
it
always tell
will
that it all
be
began that day when we
almost
went to
twice the
Botanical Gardens. Me,
Cyberpunk
Lost Crew,
2077
and two of my
footage, which
friends.
is the current
Whose
longest
idea
video
was
that
it to
I
visit the
have ever
abandoned
rendered
station?
on the
Who
iMovie
persuaded the
in
others
the
to go?
MacBook Air
I always
mid
tell them that I don't
2013.
remember. I always
So
thought,
yeah, it's pretty annoying,
this is safe, was
especially
it?
when
Or
the Mac
there's no way to
was
ascertain the truth.
automatically locked
Both
or sleep,
Vitaly and Eugene
because
are
during
dead
that
now.
time when we tried to
The
open
massive airlock
or
doors
log in
shrugged
into
and
the
opened
Mac
with a
OS
grinding
again,
sound,
it will
opening the
basically
road to hell for us and the road into the metro for the
some
demons.
sort of saving the
But
cache
in
for
fact, it
the
all started that
storage.
day when Mother said we should
The
take a
assets,
walk
I'm
in the
just not
Botanical
sure.
Gardens and go there by metro. I remember how we took a short escalator to the surface,
So the
how
Metro
we
Last
entered
Light
the
is basically
spacious
pretty
glass
Russian
lagoon
games,
and saw a street
like
buried in green.
uni-Soviet games.
I
So the
remember the
metro
small
is basically
clouds
located
moving
pretty
across the
under
crimson sky,
the surface. So
the
that's the
soft,
reason why
cool wind
until
on my
now it is
face.
still used as a
Mother
bunker,
brought me an ice
even
cream.
after the
That was the last
apocalyptic
time
war which
I
is caused
tasted
on
it.
this game.
That
But this
day
is
humanity
actually
was executed.
the
The righteous and the sinful were called to
after
be
the
rendered
nuclear war
according to their deeds.
against the monster, which
And we
is
hid from God's
basically pretty
sight in the
much like
metro.
the
And we were
the
saved
Quiet
from his
Place
wrath.
monster. I'm not
And
sure.
he apparently decided that flushing us out
So
wasn't
this is
worth the
actually
trouble.
the
Then he went
sequel to the
about his
Metro
business or perhaps
2033.
died, while
So
we
I
stayed on
think
this
the
used
enemy
up and discarded earth and
was
continued just going
fight on this game is not
nowhere.
only the
I
monster,
remember
because the
so
monster
many
should
random
already extinct, even though
unnecessary
there are
things,
several
yet I don't remember
remaining
the most
ones. But
important one.
yeah, there are
My
more
mother's face.
other
She died very
survivors,
soon
which is
after the war
basically
started. All
can
that
be
remains
considered
of
as an
her is
enemy
that
as
day
well.
in the gardens. How I wished I could recall her face, the way she looked at me, the way she whispered that I have nothing to fear. I'd sell my soul just to recall
So
that.
yeah, since was a
I'd do that any
post-apocalyptic,
day, anytime.
for some reason it can be a little bit scary as well, or a thriller. But yeah,
And I did.
as you can see later on the video. But yeah, it's definitely not as scary as Resident Evil, perhaps. I'm not sure. Even though Resident Evil is also considered not scary at all, since there are so many people are already speedrun the games over and over again. So yeah, they definitely think the game is not scary at all because it's already feels so repetitive for some reason. And yeah, there's only two difficulty, which is the normal and hardcore. That's the reason why I cannot finish the first mission. So yeah, as you can see later in this video, it's just so hard. Just don't get it why there's only two playstyle as well. I just don't get it. The first one is actually seems to be harder. So actually there are four difficulty. because there are additional things that basically may not
The
really
Dark
related
Ones
to the
came
enemy,
much
but
later,
to the
from the
this
garden's
ability that
direction.
we
The Dark
actually
Ones,
get in the
huge,
game.
towering a full head over the highest man. Nightmarish creatures, creepy as a man turned inside out. Monsters born to destroy us. The word was they were incredibly strong and unnaturally evil. That with bare paws they could tear armed men apart.
Is some sort of urban legend in the
That's
Russian
all
countries.
lies.
Just don't get it.
Truth is even scarier.
So basically, the monster is not really shown physical form. It's more like a shadow for some reason.
Tried calling my family, but couldn't get through.
Maybe because they tried to make the game even scarier. Or even if you talk about the HDMI video capture, it's getting even scarier because you cannot see a thing. It's just so dark when trying to record using HDMI video capture. So yeah, it's like a giant monster. I'm not sure whether it is actually an alien monster like the Quiet Place that's come from the sky, or it is just an infected humans like The Last of Us, perhaps? Not sure. Even though basically this is just a nightmare because the monster should already most likely instinct, because it's basically the main enemy of the previous game, which is the Metro 2033. So basically there are also a sequel to this game, which is Metro New Light. I'm not sure.
Artyom, wake up, Artyom. It's me.
So the game is also not very expensive.
wonder.
You talk about
After
the
all you've been
remaster on
Listen,
Nintendo
I have
Switch.
incredible news. A couple of days
This is
ago, I was near the
basically a
ruins of the Dark
AAA
One's hide,
games
and I
because
saw
most likely
still
the
alive.
original version of this
I
game
immediately
was
set out to
even
find you, as you were
released
the
on the
one they tried to
PlayStation 3 or
contact.
Xbox
Therefore,
360,
you watched the
and
missiles
the
that
remaster
flight somewhere.
definitely a PlayStation 4 or even
How the hell did you get here?
Xbox
Get out! Now!
One.
Yes, Ullman, one moment. If a Dark One has survived, it is vital that you try to speak with it, Artyom. I realize that as one of the Order now, you report to Miller, but we must persuade him to allow this
Game
mission.
like this is actually rich in
I
terms of
told you to get
story,
out!
because yeah, the game is pretty much static, not an open world games, but
Follow me, Artyom.
yeah, it is
Get
pretty
ready,
interesting for some
I'll be
people who
waiting at
just
the
want
exit.
to waste
Move it,
their
you
time
greasebag.
to enjoy the story like a
I knew a
movie.
smoker once.
But for me, I
During the
don't
last
really
year
like
of
it,
his life,
especially when
he had
I
to
need
eat,
to waste
drink, and breathe
some
for a
money in order to play the games, which the game is already completed and I cannot actually do anything again. So it is pretty annoying for some reason because it's definitely waste of money and also waste of storage space. Because to be honest, I don't really like to uninstall and install the game again with the different game, because basically there are always things that we can still do perhaps on the completed games, even though it's basically pretty repetitive. Sure.
Everything inside what I touch. Weapons, medicine.
So yeah, we are currently in the bunkers,
It's nice down here since
which basically cannot do many things perhaps. Not sure why we are need to carry on the lighter all the time, because the bunker should already have the built-in light for some reason, because there are so many people that exist in this place. course, in order to survive the bunker, some people just need to leave it and try to find some resource outside. So that's the reason why that's part of the main things that you need to risk your life, perhaps. Sure.
Привет, Artyom. Artyom was one of the men who found these Sikhs. They gave him a ranger's badge on the spot.
It's nice for
No,
him.
it's
I
basically
spent 2 years as a
developed
cadet before they
by a
accepted me
Russian
into the order.
developer, or even try to set the game on Russian, perhaps. I'm not sure. But of course, the language still in English because it was an international game. And in order to attract as many as player as possible.
Discharged last week, so ashes to the George base, and Romanov's the only one.
Pathetic.
So to make it realistic, maybe they try to implement first-person view, which basically the only thing that you can do, just like BioShock or even other rich-on story, but or Borderlands, but it's getting weirder for some reason.
I hear you're a ranger now, huh? We must get a drink sometime to celebrate. For now, let's get you a queen. So, first things first. You're going to need the gas mask. You can't make a step on the surface without
Still
the gas
pretty.
mask.
So there's 30 minutes remaining, and I already reduced 4% of my battery, because previously I already tried to charge until 100%. So I'm not sure whether after this I can actually create another Animoji or not, because I think I need to do something else, especially when the remaining Animoji that I just recently moved, all of them were basically longer than this movie, so it's definitely cannot do another one, especially when I just need to prevent the low power mode to be turned off automatically, because previously when I tried to create the Counter-Strike Global Offensive Animoji, I almost failed to make it on time, but surprisingly it's still not yet failed, so still succeed to make it on time.
And the choice of those is completely up to you.
So the exact 80%, so 10% decrease after 28 minutes of Animoji, perhaps. There are some interruption which basically reduce the battery even more. And yeah, since this is basically not as futuristic or weird as the Borderlands or even BioShock, so the weapon is still basically conventional current weapons that exist right now. So that's the reason why this feels pretty interesting, especially when you can also do some modification to the weapon, which is pretty interesting, and I really like it, to be honest. Even though, yeah, if you talk about the weapons upgrade, it is basically exists on many open world first-person games as well, such as the Far Cry. So it's nothing special if you talk about the first-person games, because to be honest, I'm still not really like first-person games, but yeah, consider there are not so many third-person games out there, because maybe third-person games are also harder to be developed, because you basically need to consider the animation, because the player can see all of the details of the animation, just like the Uncharted or Last of Us games. So that's the reason why some of these features are not likely to be exist on those games, I think. So it's pretty annoying, even I actually never really completed those games before. But still, definitely pretty popular, especially when The Last of Us is currently being developed as a TV series, which the second episode of the movie is got viral, especially here in Indonesia, because the beginning of the fire spread is actually located in the capital, the current capital city of Indonesia, which is Jakarta, from some certain factory. Even though the Last of Us virus or monster is basically caused by a mushroom, which is a little bit disturbing if you talk about the infection rather than any other Resident Evil or any other zombie movie, perhaps. So yeah, there are actually some other unpopular movies that basically take place about those kind of infection as well. I used to watch it on the story recap because I don't want to make the thumbnail show on my home time, so I decided to watch the recap instead, even though I basically can make the video into not interested as well, for some disturbing thumbnail on my YouTube main page recommendation. So yeah, for some reason
You're not to disclose the fact that these tickets been found to anyone in the metro. Tell us that someone already served the people.
can really make
It's like crazier than the last. No way.
like real things, especially when our brain
Yesterday, the
can
commander
integrate it into the same thing, even though I've never really seen about the real thing as well. But yeah, it's still definitely a disturbing things to see, because yeah, there used to be a very controversial website which is basically blocked in many countries, and yeah, it's just full of disturbing pictures, real ones. So, yeah, that's the reason why. For some reason, the real one is also can be very scary.
All right, let's go.
So as you can see, any kind of word or the letters that was shown in the game is most likely a Russian word, I guess.
To serve their lords,
because yeah, it's definitely take place in the underground, iconic Russian metro.
The things in D6 are like what the Conqueror took with him beyond the grave. Gold, steel, and wild
During the Cold War, perhaps.
untold.
Sure.
Of course, the Tomb
When
Raiders would
was
always
this
die or
metro
killed by
even
demons,
created?
ghosts, or their
Because if you talk about many development countries, in order to create a metro system, it takes so long, even though they're not actually that deep like this one, which can be used as a bunker as well. And it's also take so much money in order to create this kind of thing in the modern world. Maybe because in order to dig down the land, it's not as easy as it used to be. So that's the reason why even the shallow metro system is still costs a lot of money for a very short metro system.
Bunkers, the nooks and crannies, and exits. Still, we face people that dream of finding.
To be honest, metro system is also pretty scary, especially when something is going on outside the world, because you just cannot do anything when you are actually trapped inside. So basically, beside it
All
is
right, go on in.
much more
I'll wait here.
expensive to be
When you're
done
gone, I'll speak to you.
underground. So for some reason, the
Bombing of
levitated
the Dark Ones may
metro
have changed
system is
humanity's
basically
worst
safer
mistake.
in
What if
terms
they meant us
of
no harm,
any
but were
kind
trying
of
to
natural
communicate?
disaster, perhaps.
Perhaps
Not
the
sure.
severe pain and loss of consciousness suffered in their presence just meant we were incompatible. Machines with different wiring. But somehow you, Artyom, have the common wire, the connection with the Dark Ones. Yes, people died at
So
exhibition.
there are definitely
home
still
state
so many
Hunter,
survivors.
is
No,
most
most of
likely
them
dead
are
as well.
definitely in
Who
army,
taught you
kind
this?
of.
If we don't fight for our lives in this new world, we'll be devoured. It is the law of evolution.
Not sure where the
I would
civilian
argue
was
the old
actually
laws
live
no
if
longer apply.
the metro bunker is already occupied for purposes or survival.
And you, God, you have something to report?
Yes, God.
Let's keep it short then.
I located the surviving Dark One at the gardens.
What? One of those things is still alive?
Luckily, yes.
Luckily! Come, this is utter madness. The Dark Ones were the greatest threat the Order's ever faced.
God, just give me a chance. A single Dark One is no
Basically,
threat.
maybe the real actors
Until
that
have
fill
to
the
live.
voices also
I
real
believe we can
Russian,
establish contact with the creature.
then can
Let him come with me.
speak English, perhaps,
Alright.
because the accent
Alright.
is pretty
Go
much
with Khan to the
like
gardens
Russian
and
people.
locate the Dark One. I'll send a sniper along.
And we're actually already halfway of the videos, but still
sir.
pretty long,
Why would we
obviously,
need a
for
sniper?
around 20
To
minutes.
eliminate the creature and finish the Order's job. Miller, you can't! It's murder! Restrain him! You idiot!
Besides, I don't
You're making
really
the same
interested
mistake
with the
We're
game
done.
as well, so that's the reason
Escort
why
Khan out of here.
I'm just not
It's your
really
last chance for forgiveness
excited
for
to
getting
create
rid of the
Animoji, or
nightmares.
maybe I'm just already too tired, since there are still
What is
so
it about
many
Khan?
footage
Looks like
that
he
I
got
need to
close.
create
Too close to the creature
Animoji,
who lost his mind.
and I've
Look
already
here,
wanted to do
complete
something
the mission
else,
and get back here quickly.
because
The
yeah,
war is coming.
gaming
I'll
is
need every
also
ranger
pretty
at his post.
segmented and not
On your way.
cannot
So,
really
what are you
attract
waiting
many
for?
viewers,
Come along,
obviously,
rabbit.
even though I already upload more than 100 videos, but
Maybe,
yeah,
and don't forget to finish
for
it with a
some reason
headshot.
people only
We
wanted
now
to see
suspect
the
less
one
hits
that
with the sleeper.
currently on fire, perhaps, I'm not sure.
Don't tell me you believe that bullshit about making peace with the Dark Ones. I wish I had been up in that tower myself to see the missiles fall and watch them burn in their nests. Come on, Rabbit. Would you let those things into the metro? Let them crawl into our brains so they could use us like animals. Maybe we could mate with them so the children could live on the surface and feed off the radiation. Shit. You don't shake hands with the devil.
So it seems there are no longer people in this level where there is the real metro that works, which is, yeah, pretty weird, because yeah, this thing is maybe already autonomous, like the light railway transit or the smaller metro system in Indonesia that will be open
on the botanical
on
gardens,
the mid of this
turning the
year,
flesh into ashes.
while also
smelting
try
metal
to
and
open
glass.
the first
Nobody and
high-speed
nothing could
railway
survive that
and
inferno.
also connect
Yet
with
Khan
those
did
light
find the Dark One there.
metro system.
Now my mission is to find and eliminate it. To finish what I
If you
started.
talk about the number of cartridge that can be carried on the metro system, it is actually most likely the same like the real metro, but the only thing's different is the width of each of the cartridge, because the lane is also a little bit tight, so that's the reason why it was called light metro system or light railway transit.
But now, this monorail seems magic, doesn't it? Our kids won't know how to operate these things. And their kids will
They
probably
just don't
think
get it
this was
why
built by the gods.
they cannot implement the same thing on the real metro system.
This is part of the secret Metro 2 line. We haven't explored these tunnels. Can't spare the time or manpower. So don't wander off.
So yeah, everything seems to be just continuously. So there's no some sort of
I'll try to put some fusion
information
system
after
in the light
you
zone.
have completed
Use your
certain
flashlight in
mission,
the meantime.
or maybe I'm actually haven't completed a single mission yet. Just don't get it.
Watch yourself. The doors are closing. Good luck.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything was suddenly
dark,
dark, so there's no light, obviously, because
That's a good sign, Rabbit. Maybe we'll have
maybe
luck with this mission
everything
too.
was no longer connected into this place. And then there's suddenly a light
Power's working.
comes on,
Open the gate. I'll cover the
which is
passage.
pretty weird.
Great. You did fine after all.
So basically, she was
All
supposed to
clear.
be a
Move out.
sniper, but they still bring the short combat weapons as well,
All right. The map shows a collector entry
before he
point
can
ahead.
reach the vantage point to do the sniper.
Move. I'm following.
Now we need to go first.
Go right.
not,
There's a dead end on the
because
right.
everything was
Something alarmed
very
them.
dark.
Stay sharp.
Just don't get it. We are actually already reached the surface or not. Because yeah, there's
That thing's
some
fast.
animals.
I don't think we'll run into anything serious here. Great. The ladder. It's just a little more walking. Then we'll see if you're rabbit or man. Surface. Put your mask on.
So just don't get it. We can actually see whether we are actually using a mask or not.
Way out of your reach, rabbit.
There's no differences in terms of first person game. So maybe the viewing angle of the glass in the mask is also full, so you cannot
me a
see
hand
the
here.
edge of the mask. Then we're actually already in the surface, which is
Let's go.
basically still pretty dark, even though there was sunlight.
To the main entrance. There's a good shooting position there. I can cover a lot of territory. You're supposed to be immune to their what? Influence? I don't have your gift. So hop along, rabbit. Head on in
So
and work for
maybe
the
the
future.
nuclear war
thinking that
has
since the
made
Dark Ones
all
are
of the
so
sky
strong,
turn black.
it'll sense
I
you
just don't
or
get it.
them or
Why
whatever
the
stops
atmosphere
and come from hiding.
is pretty
Just
much
stay in
like
the
a
open
heavy
so I can
rain,
cover you.
or
We'll
for
maintain
some
radio
reason.
contact. And if you have second thoughts, don't worry. I'll do it. Okay then. Good luck.
Since there seems to be no much enemy, I think I prefer to use handgun instead.
Was. That's some fine wasteland. You guys sure did a good job here.
So there are some realistic
Get ready.
there.
All right. I'm working on them.
The water's
Not
kind
dark, but they're watchmen.
dirty, the mess. And we are actually have so many enemies. Immediately the tree monster, but it is basically
That
look
house was
like
bad luck. Get ready for more.
alien
Another tree.
tigers
Let's
for
do it.
some reason. And for some reason, even though we are actually got beaten,
There's more in the reef.
it's still not immediately affected. So, the good thing we are not die, almost die. So it's definitely need to use bigger guns rather than just using
Looks like we pretty much cleaned the place.
support
How are you? Hey, you alright?
So it's pretty
Hey, Artyom.
it's
You're
like
doing a decent
weapons
job.
from
Maybe
the
you're
Red
more than
Dead
a rabbit
Redemption.
after all.
Just look at it. It's so old.
There's something at the edge of the crater. A tree's blocking my view. Okay, go left. There's a way around.
Maybe it's just full of toxic gas. Just also block the view. Maybe that's the reason why we need to use the mask all the time on the surface. There is a lot of inventories that we can use, but I'm not sure whether it is really beneficial or not.
I see it. About 30 meters from your position.
Because most likely this game works
Looks small, but it's
basically
definitely a dark
just
one.
a gunfight.
What's keeping you? Come on!
For some reason there are
Fast. How did it do
some
that?
other
Circle it from the
affected
left.
animals
Still there.
perhaps,
Targeting.
but not the one that basically can attack us. So that's the reason why it's basically not really matters. So there's no feature perhaps to kill the other animals like the fish. I just don't get it. Why? Because everything seems to be so big if you talk about first person view. So yeah, that's the reason why for some reason it's can make it a little bit confusing, especially when I don't actually have any kind of map that indicates the players.
Leap after it, Artyom. There's no way around.
So we're already reaching 8 minutes remaining, and I'm actually already had the 89% of battery. So obviously still may definitely make it above 80% for another charge on my iPhone.
Right above you. Watch out.
Yeah, I'm not sure which video that I can do next because I definitely still have some spare time as well. So just don't get it why the animal seems to be pretty innocent because they're not really attacking you until certain points that they try to send a message perhaps, which is really weird. It reminds me of the Pacific Rim when the humans try to connect with the monster and to identify their real reason why they come to Earth. And yeah, of course, they advanced civilization, even though it still looks like an animals in terms of the physical form, but in order to reach the Earth, definitely needs some sort of technological spaceship that can reach the speed of light, perhaps. So yeah, later we are captured by the Germany, I guess, for some reason.
And I'm sure that it recognized me.
It's
And
like
got scared.
modern Nazi,
It also left me
Nazi
knocked out for
resurrection.
some
After the post-apocalyptic, perhaps, I'm not sure.
Seems like they were looking for something.
And this is where I cannot continue because
The third one looks like a ranger of the order.
fighting against the human is actually harder for some reason.
It was delivered to Reich as well.
Because maybe they have a weapon as well, obviously, so they can shoot from
See,
a certain distance.
Don't you understand? I'm a Hansa citizen.
Shut up! You're not in Hansa. Here you are a suspect in the distribution of corrupted genes. And this is your trial. If your skull has the correct proportions, you are free to go. If not, you are an abomination.
But their accent seems to be the same Russian. I'm not sure
I told you to stay still. Well, let's see.
why, but
318 millimeters
I
by...
think the name seems to be like
302.
German.
Let's look it up in the table. Ah, congratulations. You're a mutant.
No.
To the garbage chute. A simple question. What was your mission in the gardens?
Go to hell yourself, Nazi. Phew.
I'm gonna count to 3.
And yeah, he was called
Glory
Nazi.
to the red line.
Definitely Germany against Russia.
Please, I'll talk. But away from the other side. They'll kill me if they hear. Okay?
Take this one to the second unit. Usually, Reich does not interfere with the Order's business. But here we have you, the Reds, and the Freak all caught in the same net. I do not like
For some reason, the
So talk
sniper
or take a bullet to the
it
brain.
seems to be getting away because but we are actually can make new friends
Here,
for some reason.
you keep the knife. Keep it. So, here with the Spartan order? I'm from the Red Line.
For some reason, we are actually only use
But I say
knife.
fuck that. No, fuck
Wonder
that. The
why
guns
maybe
stick
the
together, huh?
weapons is already out of
I see.
ammunition.
Ух ты, ты смотри.
Not sure.
Remotely controlled lock. One thing's for sure.
But since we are already in the enemy base, obviously there are some electricity
Right.
to make it not as dark as the bunker that didn't have any occupancy.
Okay, let's get our asses out of this place. Then we'll go our separate ways. Huh?
Of course, all of our inventory seems to be missing, perhaps. I'm not sure. But yeah, we are trying to escape from the back
This is their
door.
contingency plan.
It's basically
The right or the
darker
side
than
will open the valve and
the
turn
front
the
door,
prison into one
obviously.
big gas chamber.
So yeah, I just don't get it why. That's the reason why I'm pretty confused. What is the real objective of this mission?
Where the hell are you, huh? Where are you? Huh? You get lost.
The inventory lighter seems to be not significant at all in terms of lighting up the environment.
We'll go as soon as the elevator leaves. Let's move.
Sweet mother of God, I heard rumors of a concentration camp here, but to see it with my own eyes. Бляха,
Trying to
There's a tunnel on the other side.
approach some sort of big
Okay,
rooms
I lead,
without any
you follow.
weapons. That's the reason why
Keep it quiet.
I
Don't
think
guess everyone.
the enemy will
Let's move.
obviously try to shoot at
Stay out of the
us.
light and stick to the shadows. They are your best friend.
So I was already trying to follow him correctly,
Okay,
but for some
looks like we
reason
cleared it. Let's see.
I will
Great.
actually fail in this
Yeah,
short time.
tough luck, didn't even budge, huh? All right, we can't go through here, that we know. Okay, where do we go now? Huh? What if... Hey, give me a lift, will you?
So it's 1 minute remaining and I just don't get it. What can I basically do next? So yeah, I was trying to follow him into the ladder, but for some reason I just got shot immediately and die. So yeah, I decided to quit the game because there are only 30 seconds remaining and my battery is already reaching 86%. So, yeah. I just don't get it why the main menu is look like a jet coaster.